Travis Wayne Goodsell. I'm saving the Jerusalem War video right now. I'm hoping this will be a quick one for you. If you've noticed, Wednesdays for me, I usually put out a bombshell of a video. And this Wednesday was no different. I just happened to get inspired. And it just happens to be on Wednesday. And it just happens to be the day before Thursday's meeting that the prophets have. And that they then can discuss my videos and how to exterminate me from the face of the universe. YouTube is conforming and complying as best they can to silence my videos because of the corruption that exists with YouTube and the church. But typically I also put out a video Thursday morning that's supposed to be quick enough for the prophets to get a quick glance at, so that they can tremble in fear and get angry. And so, as yesterday's video discussed the big lie in the church, this video will have the title, The Big Lie. And we'll try to be quick as possible for you about that, and we'll have a picture of the seer stone once I finish saving this video and so forth. So the big lie of the church is Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon. That's the big lie. Book of Mormon's always been the push for the church. It's the keystone of the church. Take out the keystone, church falls. Enemies of the church know this. Ex-Mormons know this. Church knows this. And so the Book of Mormon has been uncovered through a number of different scientific fields to not be a history of the ancient indigenous people of America in multiple scientific fields. This is without question. The Book of Mormon is not a history, which means Jesus didn't come to the Americas. He's not even our God anyway. None of the people were correct. And if none of the people existed, guess what? First vision didn't happen. Moroni, which was actually Nephi, didn't visit Joseph Smith, didn't give him treasure plates that were buried in the ground. That's Knights Templar. but yeah, I've done the videos about all of this. There was no Peter, James, and John, John the Baptist, Elijah, Moses, etc. All of that is code. But the church can't let Mormons know the truth. And as the world has now confirmed without a shadow of a doubt that the Book of Mormon is not a history, which everybody's calling it as a fraud, therefore, the church is in a pickle. And if you notice, it's all about translator. Nelson and none of the prophets since Brigham Young have claimed to be translators. Brigham Young didn't even want the Book of Abraham. It was that Richards guy from England who put it in a pamphlet. And so when he came back, it was included in what was called the Pearl of Great Price. But nobody figured that anybody would actually learn Egyptian well enough to discover that Joseph Smith didn't translate the facsimiles in a manner in which Egyptologists who only learned how to translate text as a result of deciphering the Rosetta Stone text would think that Joseph Smith did not translate the facsimiles correctly. And so everybody now thinks that Joseph Smith is a fraudulent translator of Egyptian. And there's also the King Follett Discourse, where he retranslates the Hebrew Bible. And again, everybody comes out and says, nope, Joseph Smith is not a translator. So not a translator, not a translator, not a translator. And so the church, knowing that the scientific community are closing in on the Book of Mormon, the keystone, they have to come up with some other explanation than translator to explain Joseph Smith away. Revelator. So now he's a prophet, seer, revelator, and revelator. Translation and historicity of the Book of Abraham. That's the official church position on Joseph Smith. Revelator. The Book of Mormon was revelation. King Full of Discourse revelation. Book of Abraham revelation. Doctrine and Covenants revelation. Everything revelation. No translator. Okay? If you've been paying attention to my videos, I'm the one who deciphered Paleo-Hebrew. And the reason why I deciphered it is because I wanted to know how Joseph Smith rendered his translation in the King Follett Discourse. And I was presented with the instructor of all people around the world who could teach me. I've told that story, the miracle of it. And he led me to the clues. I went, oh, okay. So the current Hebrew Bible that we have only has one translation, and the church isn't using it. And that one translation is because the Masorete Jews from 800 to 1000 AD added in jots and tittles in violation of the Deuteronomic law? Uh-oh. Yeah. So, well, we need to go back to the pure language of Paleo-Hebrew, devowed the Brown Driver Briggs Hebrew-English lexicon, did the research for the vocabulary after I deciphered the script, and came to the church and said, hey, Joseph Smith is right, he's a translator, isn't that great? Church said, nope, we want you excommunicated, Travis. They didn't do it, but they tried. Created a troublemaker file where in there it says I'm a troublemaker because I presented my Paleo-Hebrew research to them. 36434 is my file number. This is the big lie that the church wants kept secret, because I then went on with having deciphered Paleo-Hebrew script, realizing that individual letters of the alphabet have meaning as a word, multiple words at different levels, then realized, hey, well, these come from Egyptian characters, therefore these Egyptian characters have multiple level meanings, just like the Paleo-Hebrew I deciphered, and there are facsimiles, picture glyphs as I refer to them, that do not have their characters in any sign list for Egyptology. And what do you know? I deciphered Egyptian picture glyphs. And that led me to discovering that the Bible is a translation from the Egyptian picture glyphs. And so I've been able to do all that stuff. If you're unfamiliar with the Zeitgeist movement, there's Zeitgeist the movie. D.M. Murdoch was the popular one of that movement. She's dead. Christians think that their Christianity is safe. Watch the Jerusalem War video. And there was also Gary Greenberg, who didn't work with D.M. Murdoch, but he likewise figured the same pattern out from the Old Testament, specifically Genesis, as D.M. Murdoch focused mainly on the Gospels, which is why Christians hated her so much. Okay, the other video is done. And this video is going longer than I thought. But then at the same time, in 1999, there was me. None of us worked together, but we were all part of the same zeitgeist movement because we were all recognizing the same things from Scripture with Egyptian. And I'm the last man standing of that zeitgeist movement. And I'm the one who developed it into a theory. And I'm the one who've been sharing with you all about it in my videos. Joseph Smith is a translator, but not of the Book of Mormon. The Book of Mormon was specifically coded with a warning. And Jerusalem War. Watch the video. And so this is the big lie of the church. Because if they come out and show that Joseph Smith is a translator of Hebrew and Egyptian, well, what about the Book of Mormon? That's still not a history. There are no plates. Uh-oh, what's the code? Who is it referring to? What's the warning? What is that great and abominable church we're supposed to be watching out for? So that's what the church fears. That's why the church is trying to have me assassinated. That's why YouTube has tried very hard not to have you watch this video.